This is our Forex blog for March 31st, 2011. And like most days, we want to try to find currencies that are super strong and buy those against ones that are super weak. The dollar, daily, weekly, monthly trends down. And last night, a couple hours before midnight, had a lot of weakness. And for most of today, it had weakness. So you want to, sell the dollar against the stronger currencies. The euro, daily, weekly, monthly trends up. Coming into midnight, it had brief spurts of extreme strength, anything at or above the dotted white line. And so you basically wanted to buy the euro dollar last night. So you can see coming into midnight, it's above the hourly. That's one of our filters. When it breaks out right here, you get in, comes up to the previous day's highs. The resistance area doesn't have a whole lot of statistical strength, so you're out of that trade. You might wait for it to break above the previous day's high right here and get in. Upper containment band, it went up about 20 pips, pulled back, found support at the previous day's high, and then took off. And if you're a longer term trader, this first wave up, or where it went from here up to the high, let me fix the bottom part here. The fib targets usually are where the market stalls, and you can see it did for about an hour. It went right to the first fib target. There wasn't a whole lot of statistical strength at that time, and most of us probably might have got out of that trade there. It went sideways long enough that, because the longer term trend's up, if you bought that next breakout right there, you have the fib target of this last wave, and it went way past the first and second fib target. It actually went to my Fibonacci profit target level that I did the previous night, and it's extremely strong at the time. But when it pulls back and comes back up again with half the strength, this is what I was talking about with you, Adam, on the phone. Currencies that sometimes do go outside our upper bands, but most of the time they reverse. And especially if you see a double top like that without the statistical strength it had before, usually there's no more buyers left at this end of the move, and you get a pullback. Let's look at some of the other ones that were extremely strong. The Swiss had lots of strength today. The weekly trend's down, but the monthly trend's up. So if they conflict with each other, use the real-time momentum of the day. So weak dollar, strong Swiss, you want to look to sell it. And you can see this one was underneath its hourly all the way back around noon yesterday. And this one didn't explode down. It probably wouldn't have been one that you might have really focused on. But once it broke yesterday's low, came back up, couldn't get back above it, you might have gone short right here. Didn't really pan out too much. Came back up again, double top right there. Again, currencies that are underneath the previous day's low are pretty weak. And if you went short, this, you would have had to have a lot of patience to stay in this one because it really never exploded. But most of the time, the fib targets, as you can see, the 1.618 weekly pivot, right down a few pips away from our lower band, not having a lot of weakness. Good place to get out of that trade. The Australian daily, weekly, monthly trends up. It had, a little bit of strength from one, nothing extreme. 430 to 6, it had some strength. 436, the dollar was weak. During that time, you could be looking for Australian dollar buys. Here's, 430. The price is above the hourly. It also, had made a higher high here, pulled back. This low is higher than this low. You can clearly see it's making a series of higher highs, and you have a nice, beautiful, wedge pattern here. Anytime you have either a very tiny rectangle pattern or a wedge pattern where the volatility gets smaller and smaller, those breakouts are pretty high probability. And again, you always draw your fib target off the last wave up, and most of the time that's a phenomenal place to get out of your trade. If it goes up to that fib target and you see not a whole lot of strength, it's probably not going to go past that. So you're in this trade around 30, out at 60, you made 30 pips. Using the currency meter to find the currencies, the pound, extremely weak most of today. Most of the time we don't trade the euro pound, but strong euro, weak pound. Actually from 4 to 9, initially the euro was strong, and it got a little choppy a little bit later. But you certainly could be looking to buy the euro pound. And notice again, this one is above its hourly moving average, kind of chopping around here. Daily, weekly, monthly trends up. When it breaks out here, the next resistance area is 20 pips up. The main key to trading is small losses, big wins. Take trades that are more than 50% likely to work, and are also more likely to give you, 2 times bigger wins than what your losses. If you bought this breakout right here, you could put your stop right underneath this swing bar's low with less than a 10 pip stop, and your profit target's 20 pips or even 25 pips if it stalls at the previous day's high. I would have exited half my trade here, tightened my stop here, and then draw your fib on that first wave. Usually the fib target is where the market stalls, and you can see pretty much the 1.618 was the end of the move. I would have probably got out right here. Anytime a currency is above the upper containment band without that much momentum, rarely does it go too much beyond that, and you can see this is a good example of that. It didn't. Let's look at other reversal signs. This, the pound dollar had the 10-day and 20-day moving average in a weekly pivot here, all at our upper band. This is what I meant, Adam, by trade with the trend until it hits our statistical likely reversal area. If you see a double top with half the much strength as it had before, and it wasn't extremely strong, it wasn't at or above the dotted 20 line here, a very high probability reversal trade. And once the currency comes down and breaks the hourly, this is a very high probability trade. When it comes back up to the hourly, tests this resistance area and it can't get above it, you're short. You can draw your fibs on the previous swing down for very high probability profit target level. And you can see almost to the exact pip the 1.618 fib target. We had a counter trend buy signal here, and it was at our lower band. Now I wouldn't have necessarily got out of this short and bought, but you have the exact same pattern on the bottom here as you did on the top. Double bottom with half or less the weakness of before, and it's at one of our likely reversal areas or trading zones. And again, it's not nearly as weak. Double bottom right at the 1.618 fib target. And even if you did a counter trend trade right here, you can see it went up 40 pips. Excellent. I'm just going to go through some of our currency pairs. I don't see any trade that I would have taken on that one. We already went over this one. Let's look at the euro yen. Notice how my Fibonacci retracement level was the end of the move. Now, if you were to trading this was obviously a strong currency. Daily, weekly, monthly trends up. Once it broke above its hourly moving average in the previous swing high here, pretty decent place to get in. Aggressive traders might have bought this little pullback right here. But at this fib level, good place to get out of a trade. Now, I wouldn't go short there because it's so strong, but again, later in the day when it double tops there with almost no strength, decent place to start looking for a counter trend trade, and usually counter trend trades pull back to the hourly moving average, which is down here. So you're going to risk 5 or 10 pips, maybe 12. If you short here around 80 with 30 as your likely profit target, you have the potential of 50 pips, and in this case, it gave it to you. You don't even have to be right half the time if you have bigger, significantly bigger wins and losses. That's really the only key. This one also is a good example of currency going up yesterday. Not a whole lot of strength there. It went up again today. Counter trend sell signals. Had extreme strength the first time, but the second time it didn't, and it broke down. This is a great place to get out with a profit target. And once the currency is underneath the hourly, if it comes back up and can't get above the hourly, it's usually a decent place to sell. And fib targets are excellent places to use as guides. This one went a few measly pips underneath the 1.618 fib target. We had a counter trend triangle, which usually is the end of the move. Notice here it really didn't go much beyond that. It reversed. Counter trend triangle here, it reversed up. Counter trend triangle here, took about an hour and then reversed down. Counter trend, these are showing extreme areas, the triangles. Usually they reverse after that. I'm just seeing if there's any other fib levels or targets that got hit. So a pretty dead day against most of the other pairs.